Hey there, and welcome to the podcast Tiling Connect, hosted by Mark Moskwa. This show is designed to connect people with the best information intended to strengthen the business of tiling. To keep up to date with all the episodes, don't forget to subscribe.
Hey everybody, Mark here from Tiling Connect. Welcome back to the program. More importantly, welcome back to a new episode. And I think we're going to keep with a theme this year. We've got another rock star joining us today, and a local Brisbaneite, Ryan, Brisbane North-ish, but Ryan O'Leary from Bribie Island Tiling, who was recommended to come on the show by another tiling contractor, Westy. So a big shout out to Westy. Thanks for connecting us together. And
cheers, Westy.
Cheers, Westy. Ryan, mate, welcome to the show. How's things?
Things are good, mate. Things are good. Had a big day, pretty good day. Hammered out that what I needed to do, but no complaints here. Pretty good.
Awesome, mate. Fantastic. Well, I think as I just so happen to say it on every show, I certainly don't like to waffle on too much about me in the beginning. So I like to deep dive and really get into the nitty gritty of the questions and get to know our guests a lot better, and more importantly, for the community, get to know them. They want to get to know you much better as well. So I think the best place to start, mate, is if you want to give us a background on your tiling journey, why you do tiling, or why you started your own tiling business, and what's been sort of a significant experience for you so far.
Copy. Started when I was 15. My father was a tiler. He was a tiler on the island since the bridge went in. So in the mid-60s or the end of the 60s, my father was a tiler here at Bribie, and I think he was pretty well the only tiler on the island at that stage. Might have been one or two, obviously before my time. I can't remember not wanting to ever be a tiler. I pretty much just wanted to do what Dad did. Aside from footy, and when that didn't work out, I went to work with the old man. Wasn't doing too flash at school, apart from, obviously fucking sports and art. And then at the end of year 10, that was it. Mum said, "You're going to work with Dad." Here I am, mate. I haven't sort of looked back since, to tell you the truth.
Wow. And what's, mate, I have to ask, what football code were you dabbling in your earlier years?
League, mate. League.
Oh, nice.
So I stopped playing really, really early. I can't remember what age. I had lots of injuries, and it didn't work out from a really, really early age. I was out. But like I said, that's all I ever wanted to do was play footy or be a tiler. That was it.
Yeah.
So second choice, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, mate. Well, that's pretty special. When I grew up in the industry, one of a couple of different roles that I had, I worked for an adhesive manufacturer, and there was a gentleman that I used to work with here in Queensland called Steve Brown. Steve now works, I think, for SAS, adhesive brand. And
Yep.
I remember when Brownie was teaching me about how to be an adhesive representative on the road, he would share with me an abundance of NRL stories because he's an ex-footballer from the 80s. It was, I think it was a pretty common practice that back then that if you were playing football, one of the things that you had to do was actually take up a trade, because it was probably the most flexible thing that you could do when you weren't playing sport.
100%. I think anyone, I've got a 3-year-old son at the moment, and I've got another one on the way. I think for any...
congratulations.
Cheers. I think for any young people, as far as doing a trade, because I would just urge them to do a trade quite early and then sort of pursue something, let's say higher up. Pursue that later. 3 or 4 years is not a long time in the grand scheme of things, and you've always got that to fall back on. I finished my apprenticeship at 18, and then I travelled. I have tried a couple of other things here and there, but nothing has ever looked after me like tiling. So, like I said, I did a lot of travel in my 20s, through a lot of my 20s, and then I sort of dabbled in other industries. I did mining once or twice. I never really liked it. I always came back to tiling, especially on the island here, and doing broader, bit of rendering and the stonework and all that together. I just could never seem to get off the tools in that way. And like I said, like it always looked after me. So that'd be my advice to any young kids, is to do it, smash out a trade first, whatever it is, chippy, concreter, tiler, whatever. Finish that first and then go to uni and try and do something a little bit better, I guess you could say. But get that trade ticket, then you've always got something to fall back on, because there's a massive shortage of good tradies here.
It's excellent advice, and it couldn't be more predominantly important than today. Like my young fella, he's 17 and he turns 18 next month, and he's a plumber. So he's in his first full year of plumbing apprenticeship after school, and he's gone through a particular regime. So he left school, I think in grade 10, and he ended up going to an organisation called Busy School, and they focus specifically on youth that don't necessarily engage well in traditional schooling systems, and then they are more engaged with that practical application and that creative side of learning a trade. So at Busy School, they get to complete, I think it's their certificate 2 in their trade, so apprenticeship in plumbing, and then they're far advanced by the time they leave school. So they still get all of the regular qualifications that they need to graduate school, and then they can go into the workforce or as an apprentice, much better armed with that training than if they just went through the school system and finished at grade 12. You literally, I think schools now today that I'm aware of only offer a Cert 1, which is just not enough to get people excited about, when I leave school, I want to do a trade. So hats off to all of the young kids that are thinking about it. And I think it's really important that, a trades, I wish I could go back in time and do my life over a little bit differently again. And I can tell you right now, I'd definitely pick up the tools. I've done a little bit of work, but I'm very much still an amateur.
Oh, yes. So that what you just said then about learning differently, that would be me 100%. So I was diagnosed with ADD really, really early in school. So I couldn't sit in the classroom and learn. Like, it just wasn't suiting me. And that's where sort of it began. Like, obviously my father was a tiler as well, but I was in year 10 doing the school-based apprenticeship. So I was going every Wednesday and working for him. So I didn't learn. I'm similar to what you're saying about your son. I learn with my hands, doing something with my hands rather than sitting in a classroom. Like, I find that really difficult. Like, I've definitely got ADD, and there could be like a cocktail of other learning disabilities as well that we don't know about. I don't know, and I don't fucking want to know. Like, I was happy enough to give up the school and go to work, and it's worked out all right. My house is close to the beach. I'm happy.
And you've worked hard, and look, I don't see any of those sort of things as a disability. I simply see them as people are way more creative, and they're just not textbook people. And mate, I was never a textbook person, but when I was going through school, I just had to persevere because that's what my parents wanted me to do. If I had another choice to make at that time, or if I had parents that were a little bit more open-minded to different things, I 100% would have done something else. I probably would have dropped out of year 10 as well. School was not a fun place. It was just, you go there just to tick the box and just go, I attended.
I think that was, I remember school just got like it was a social outing for me. Like, I knew from as long as I can remember back that I wasn't going to be like an accountant or something like that. I knew I was going to be in trades. Yeah. I knew that because I watched my father my whole life. So I knew I was never going to uni. That was never, ever, I didn't want to do it. It wasn't on the table. So when I took off, I didn't have any pushback from my parents because I was going to an expensive school. I wasn't doing very well. I'd injured my shoulder, so I wasn't playing football for the school at all. And my father was a tiler. His father was a tiler / cement renderer. And my mum worked at a tile shop. So there was no pushback from them. When I said, let's get into tiling, that was it. They said, great, we're sick of paying for that school. So off you go, mate. You're finishing up there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that would make you third generation then, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't think there'd be many third generation tilers because they were just renderers. Like, my father come from England as a cement renderer. So his father was a renderer.
Yep.
And so my father's a lot older than me. So my father's 87, he's still laying the odd tile. And his father he died a long time before I was born. He was quite old as well. And he come over to the country as a coal miner, got the black lung, silicosis, and then started rendering. So I had my father as a tiler, and I had a couple of his brothers. So my uncles, they're long dead now. They were also tilers. And I got cousins that are tilers. It runs pretty deep in the family here on the island anyway.
Awesome, mate. Well, hey, look, what an excellent start to an episode. Let's get into some more questions as well, because I really want to deep dive into and you and find out more about your business and obviously share that with the community too. I know that I know that Tiling Connect is really attracting a lot of up and coming tradies. A lot of guys that have just finished their apprenticeships and gone out on their own. So undoubtedly they're going to love this episode like they have all of the others and learn some things and apply those practices to their trade. Well, look, I want to start with, so competition in business is everywhere you go, right? So whether you're a contractor in tiling or another trade or just in business in general, what would you say sets you apart from your competitors in the tiling industry, and how do you ensure consistent quality every time?
So I don't do any sort of delegating. It's pretty much me. Like I've had a tiler working for me for the last couple of years, and he was really good. He's now on his own now. I'm still swinging him jobs and talking to him and getting beers at the pub with him. A lot of the guys that sort of started with me or started with my father, a decade or so ago, I'm still good mates with those guys. So we still talk, still catch up. Bribie Island's a very small place. So I know I'd say just about all the tilers here. And I'm still very good friends with those guys. I mean, I think when you're coming up to 40, the only thing you sort of get to talk about with people is either work or the football, Football. So as far as competition goes on the island, there's plenty of work. I do see quite a few new tilers popping up here and there. Like I can only talk about Bribie Island because my truck hasn't crossed the bridge for the last 10 fucking years. But,
Gold.
But the work is there. There's no need to sledge anyone really, because like I said, the work's there. And if you do, as far as tiling goes with bathrooms, I reckon that the percentage of guys that can do them from start to finish and make a nice job of them, I reckon it's actually quite low. Any monkey can lay a tile, can lay a floor, but knowing how to set out a bathroom correctly and build the process of building a bathroom, I think there's actually a little more involved than what people give tilers credit for. So there's no, as far as my business on the island, the phone's still ringing. I think there's enough work for every tiler here and, 5 or 10 more. No, you're right. I mean, I just try and I've never sent someone to do my job. Like I just keep me, labourer, or me and the other tiler that's now left. One job, 1 week. I don't do 2 jobs. I don't want to run back to another site and start another one somewhere else. Monday to Friday, 1 bathroom 1 week, or 1 house over 2 weeks. That's perfect. The buck stops with me. Then I haven't had to go back and do a fix up for a long time. I don't plan on it.
Yeah, nice. Are you doing predominantly private work or a mix of?
No, all private. So,
all private. Yep.
I think builders suck. I've got no interest in doing any work for any builders.
Yep.
I do. There is 1 or 2 on Bribie. I am doing a couple for here and there, and they're really good. They pay me what I want. They're sort of guys doing bathrooms. I got another guy from the island doing a lot of stone and new houses like that. I don't want to do too much of that. I really, I don't want too many builders calling me. I'd rather just work for the client directly. Only time I ever have issues is when there's a builder involved.
What do you think that is? I mean, it's obviously a pretty common theme across the industry, and if you just have to turn on social media, whether it be Facebook or another platform, and you can see the obliteration on how builders behave towards contractors. And I'm sure tilers aren't the only one that they behave badly to. And not all and I will preface this, not all builders are the same.
Yeah, of course.
But there certainly is, there's a lot of negative stuff out there about working for builders and how they treat contractors. What is it, mate? What makes it so difficult to work for builders?
Well, a lot of them pay garbage, so there's that.
Yeah.
Want everything done now. They're often running late. For me personally, in my business, when I started my business, I was 18 or 19, I think, 2008 or 2009.
Yeah.
And I just got I got sick of being treated like shit from builders. Like I did work for Metricon at one point, Dixon. I had a couple of good builders on the island. They were fine. I still know them to this day, and they were all right. But some of those bigger homes, like your cookie cutter homes, like I'm talking about like Metricon and Dixon and Coral Homes. I just got sick of being let down. Like that phone call of promising the world, just do this one, and then the next one will get you on in the tradie pack and get a better rate. Bullshit. I got sick of that. So I got to a point where I said, I'm not doing any builders. That's that. And my father thought I was nuts because he had predominantly done builders work. That was our bread and butter. We were doing a builder called Oz Homes, and we were doing tens and tens and tens of homes while they were building North Lakes, which, if you know, Brisbane is like a massive estate. That's where I did my apprenticeship in. And not only was the quality of work sort of garbage in there, I got sick of being let down by builders, chasing builders for money. If I work for Old Love across the road, I know there's not going to be an issue. There's not going to be a schedule. I'm going to get paid more. I'm going to get paid on time. Like I said, the only time I have issues with payments, clients, whatever, is when there's a builder in the middle. I don't think I need builders in my business to keep me going.
Yeah. It's a sad concept to think that, and look, you're not the first person to say that, and it's probably the first time that we've had a really honest, raw conversation about this on the podcast, and I'm okay with that. Like that's how I roll. But it's really sad that we've got such a amazing industry that there is a large consensus of crap out there that contractors have to deal with on a daily basis, and it's as simple as like the builders just need to communicate better, do what they say they're going to do. If they make a promise, fulfill it. Don't, string people out. Because, I've spent 23 years in this industry in building products, and I've heard this theme is, year in, year out. It doesn't change. And to a point where there's a guy in Victoria, I'm not even going to, the inspector, Cahill, the
Lebanese lad.
The fact that we've got a guy in Australia that's created a business out of shonky builders, it's just it's
he's pretty good though. Like I follow him. I was following him real early. Not everything he says is actually right. Some of the things he says about waterproofing,
questionable.
Sometimes a little bit questionable, but I love him. I actually follow him, and I get a laugh out of that. I'm glad someone's pulling it up and putting him on camera. Also, when I'm on Bribie, it's only 20,000 people. It's only small. We don't have new homes going up like mushrooms. Yeah. So that option, I think there's tilers from Bribie that sort of travel to Brisbane, travel to Sunny Coast. But I didn't want to do that. I didn't like sitting in traffic. I was happy to do a little bit less work for a bit less money on the island. It was always better for me,
Yeah, lifestyle.
Yeah, well, that's right, mate. Like I said, I rarely cross the Bribie Island Bridge for work. And that's if you're now, you probably wouldn't know unless you've been to Bribie. Like it used to be 40, 50 minutes into Brisbane or Sunny Coast. Now it's a busy little place, and it's an hour to 2 hours getting into Brisbane. That's an extra day on your week, getting a worse rate than what I'm getting on the island.
It's crazy.
Don't tell people that.
Let's fast forward a little bit. I'm curious, and I know that this question might be particularly difficult to answer because of how the skilled trade that you have and the work that you're doing at the moment. what sort of marketing strategies have you got that are working for you at the moment, if any, and how do you attract new clients when you need to?
None, mate, none. I do the Instagram. I'm pretty heavy on the Instagram at the moment, and that is purely for my own fun, mate. Like to keep it interesting. I don't think I'm pretty sure I've never gotten a job off Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah, wow.
Maybe I haven't noticed, but I'm pretty certain it would be. If I have, it'd only be one or two. On the island, it's all word of mouth. My father being a tiler, the name O'Leary and tiling on Bribie Island is synonymous.
I imagine it would be.
Yeah. Well, it is. There's it's a pretty small place, and 20 years ago it was a lot smaller. So a lot of the O'Learys on the island were tilers. Not all of them were good tilers, but mostly word of mouth. The social media, like the Instagram and Facebook. I think Facebook's for old people, that you're wasting your fucking time there. But Instagram, I put a lot of my Instagram, and not only is that a good spot just to store pictures of your work, because you lose phones, things happen. You want to show someone something, you can't all the time. Or you look through 50,000 photos. But if you've got an Instagram, it's a good place to put your photos. It just keeps it, fun. Like I've got some good banter with some other good tilers, including your mate Westy. But I can't remember anyone ever calling me and saying, "We've got a job for you to do. We saw your Instagram." I don't think I can ever recall that.
Yeah. Well, look, on that then, and I thought that it was a bit of a loaded question, because I thought that's might be what would happen. What advice would you give, let's say, a young tiler who's just finished his apprenticeship and he's in his first or second year of starting out as a sole trader? What advice would you tell him to do? What advice would you give him regarding marketing his business so that he could elevate and get to your level as quick as possible?
Obviously, just do good work. So I don't rush anything. I don't care who's coming in after me. I don't give a shit who said or who's coming in next or the painter's this. I don't care. I'll be done when the last tile's laid, and I won't be rushing for anyone. I move pretty quickly anyway because I'm ADD and I drink about 9 Red Bulls a day. But I won't be rushing my work for any bastard. I can tell you that now. So I would say just focus on your jobs being perfect. There's a lot of tilers out there finishing that can do nice work. There's no need to rush. Like the money will come later. If you're a tiler now and you're starting a business at the moment with the lack of tradespeople, I would tell them in the next decade you're potentially going to be a millionaire. I didn't say you're going to be rich, but you could be a millionaire in the next 10 years being a good tradie with a good business. So just be patient, do nice work. And just remember, the builders need us. We don't need them.
Absolutely. I think the builders are...
Sorry, so that's what I learned. Like when I finished my apprenticeship, I thought I'd have to go emailing them and message them. That is not how it is. They should be messaging us.
Yeah, look, excellent points. And I think you're right. It's a little bit like that, a pyramid scheme type scenario where I know that you can go to the builder and get work, but then on the other side of what the builder's work that's on offer is the client. So if you can get direct to the client and then remove the builder from the picture, the relationship can obviously be much smoother. Hence, doing private work and just dealing with the clients directly is always going to be way more beneficial, right?
Yeah, well, simplify it. Cut out the middleman. Like, I mean, if you're going to go work for a builder, and I'm not bad-mouthing any builders that I'm working for or that want to do nice work and want me to tile. I'm not talking about that sort of builder. I'm talking about your project builders, like your bigger builders. Like, why would you go work for them with more stress, a bad and less money? I've had builders come up to me, some of these builders, and say, "We need to do this job, yada, yada." I said, "Yep, okay. Turns out I can do it." And they send me the prices. On what fucking planet is that right? You're going to send me my prices?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you joking me? You've just told me you're desperate for a tiler to do 2 units in, wherever, and you're going to send me a price list. Are you off your head? I'll send you the price list.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we'll probably not have another conversation again.
No, that's what I had a really really hard time with it when I went out on my own. My father retired, and at this point he was 80, early 80s when he retired. I couldn't ask him for a terrific tradesman he was. I couldn't ask him on business advice because he was very soft. He wasn't like me. He was very gentle, very soft, and I watched people push him around the entire time I worked for him, mostly builders. So I couldn't ask him advice what to do with that. His advice on anything like that would just be, well, just do it and just see how it goes, and then, if it's not good, you might have to do it. So I did that a few times with a few builders and just remember thinking, this is crap. Like, I'd be better off doing something else. Like, I didn't do a 4-year apprenticeship to just scrape by and work with some other monkeys on site and then get turf for the next guy cheaper. I didn't want to run my business like that. I'd rather sort of target clients that want nice work. They know they're not going to get an issue, and I'm going to get paid on time, paid better. I can never see myself working for a big-time builder again.
Mate, look, excellent share, and I think that gives people some inspiration to choose their pathway carefully about the type of business that they want to establish, particularly young people that are still trying to learn which way to turn, whether they go and work for builders or just stick it out for themselves. Even though starting a business can be incredibly hard and difficult and challenging, and there's so many things that can go wrong. Gives people an opportunity to look at different ways of tackling it.
Yeah, well, if you're young and you're just getting started, they're the sort of jobs that you generally get. You get those volume builders or real estates. You get a lot of stuff like that, and that's fine. Like, if you've got to fill slots and you want to work for yourself, go it. Give them a couple of goes. Just, I personally never had any luck. I was always I got everything from the check's gone to another house, the check's in the mail. That supervisor's not here anymore. I could never sort of find my feet there with the builders. A couple of good builders on Bribie I did work for years, and that was terrific. I just mean the volume builders. I just could never sort of crack it. One of my old, another tiler from Bribie I know that started with me many, many years ago. He does a lot of them. He's doing really, really well. I don't think he's on the tools anymore. He's got like 10 tilers and he's doing terrific, and that's great. But for me, I could just never crack it. I couldn't put up with people's bullshit. I'd rather just do the smaller stuff.
Excellent. I like it. Let's talk about craftsmanship and innovation. I think they're two really particularly important things in tiling. When tiles are installed, it's not just a matter of putting adhesive and primer and all sorts of other products down and then sticking the tiles on the wall and then hoping that grout will make it look pretty. We all know that. Anybody that's been in the industry for a period of time will know that. And it does take a particular type of flair to be able to put certain things together a beautiful way. What sort of trends or innovations are you seeing shape the industry at the moment? And how do you try and stay ahead of the curve as things are evolving as rapidly as they are?
What do you mean? I want to say with miners. that seems to be the hot topic at the moment. I reckon it was me that started the Only Miners #2025 trend. I don't think it was Westy. I'm sure there's going to be an argument about that, but I reckon it was me. Even though I've looked at his page and he's been doing them forever, and he does a fucking nice job of them.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, he does.
I only say that because I haven't looked closely at yours yet.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. I talked to him. That's where I was talking about. That's where the podcast actually came up. I was talking to him about how he does some of his finishes. I've completely ditched trim. I hate trim. Yeah. And I looked at some of his jobs, and he was posting a lot of the miters, and I got talking to him, and I actually thought it was his podcast. That's what I said. Yeah, I'll go and rant about trim and that we need to use miters and do it the old-fashioned way, because that's how it was done. There was no trim 40 years ago. There was no trick. You mited everything, or you used a jolly edge tile. So every tile already had the miter on it in the box. So that's how my father would have learnt. So at the moment, I guess that's the way. I mean, rather than using the shitty, polished, dirty, bent alloy trim, apart from that, just making sure every single job's finished off nicely, colour matching grout. Don't skimp on your, like at the moment we're using all Ardex glue. We're using all Ardex glue, all Ardex grouts, all Luxus grates. And on the island, I'm sort of pricing jobs by the bathroom. I'm not even really doing a meterage very much. I'm pricing a job as is, and I'm supplying everything I need to, and I'm using the best stuff I can. So where that really counts is in your bathrooms. So as far as volume goes, I don't do that much of it. I'm not smacking out 100-metre floors every day of the week. I'm doing mostly bathrooms, so I'm trying to make mine stand out from everyone else's. And I think they do. There is other tilers making perfect jobs of their jobs on the island, but I'm trying to make mine sort of stand out a little bit. I don't like the word standard tiling or, that'll do or that's good enough. Fuck that. It doesn't matter what tiles they're using too. Like you can always make a cheap tile look nice if you put your time into it. I don't care how fucking quick you can do it. I don't care if it takes me an extra day. I don't care if it takes an extra hour. I don't care if I'm there Saturday or Sunday fixing up things. Like if I can make it look perfect, I'll sleep easier at night.
Absolutely. So would it be fair to say that a lot of the work that you've done in the past and even recently, a lot of the tiles and that are clearly supplied to the jobs, and you've got a bit of a design piece that you're following from the client, or are you assisting them with putting together a design?
I assist a little bit. Mostly people have got that. Like I don't do any tile supply. So mostly the tiles are there. I seem to get the calls for the weirder ones.
Yeah, okay.
Like the brightly coloured one. I don't like black. I don't like grey. I don't like white. I seem to get the weirder, brighter coloured ones. Mosaics. We're doing a lot of the micro cement Venetian plaster as well. So I seem to get the call for the ones that are a little bit outside the box. And that's what I like. That sort of keeps it interesting for me. If I've got to do a bathroom that's a little bit insane, like orange micro cement or green or something like that, that's not a week's work for me. Like that's a week where I'm going to have fun.
Yeah, something.
I'm going to get paid well as well as have fun. So that they seem to be the jobs that I get targeted to, the weird ones, let's call them.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. Is there a common theme amongst the tiles that you're laying at the moment, particular size, shape, colour?
No, well, 600s are very popular. As far as themes go, like I'm trying to really do a lot of the micro cement. Some of the Tadlac micro cement, stone floor, some of those earthy colour ones you might see through Instagram with round corners, round niches. That seems to be pretty popular at the moment. I think that's what's in as far as bathrooms go anyway. Your micro cements with a stone tiled floor, or maybe you'll have like a Zalige tile on one wall. That seems to be what's popular at the moment, especially if you look at like Grayer. Those guys are doing a shitload of stuff like that.
Yeah, they're doing a ton of stuff. I actually met the guy, is it Shane? No, I don't.
Yeah, the two of them.
Yeah, I met one of the boys.
I think Westy's doing some of their jobs, I think.
Yeah, I met one of the boys at a National Tile store about 12 months ago down at Burleigh. And he just walked in off the street. I had a good old chat with him and we're talking about the podcast. And, yeah, he's a lovely bloke. But, he was busy so he was sort of in and out.
I love their homes. Like that dune that they've built, the one that influence just broke the record, 12 million. That's a beautiful home.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, I think that's increasingly popular at the moment. That sort of Mediterranean natural finishes, natural timber, Venetian plaster, and stones, like a stone floor. That's quite popular at the moment. So I try to push people in that direction. But the people of Bribie Island are fucking old as dirt. They don't understand that all the time. They seem to go for your 6B300s, you know, like that's the white special.
Been around forever. Yeah.
They do that a lot, which sort of drives me up the wall. I should just shut my mouth and do those stuff and get paid easily, but I don't. I sort of want it to change things up and do them differently.
Yeah. You're challenging yourself, mate. I love it. It's good.
You got it.
I had, I was first introduced to micro cements. I think it might have been episode 23 on the podcast, and we had a young rock star, I'm just going to say it, Naomi Moday from Moday in Melbourne, and she was amazing. It was the first time I've heard of micro cement, so we really deep dived into that, and some of the work that she does, and obviously she's all over socials. And
I've spoken to her. Her work is really nice.
It's beautiful.
She was one of the first Australian ones anyway that I started following. Like she does really nice work.
Yeah. She's certainly got a particular craft that she loves, and she puts a lot of energy into everything that she touches. And I imagine it's no different to what you do on Bribie as well. So,
well, I mean, the hard bit is doing that stuff full time. I mean, I think she's a painter by trade. Like I couldn't do the micro cement full time. There's just not that much of it around. But for me, like finding that work, she's obviously onto a good builder, or she's in a good area where they're in tune with it. I say that sort of stuff to people here that don't understand it. Like, I'm not going to pay you twice as much to do this when we already know you're a good tiler. Guess what you're doing?
Yeah.
But wherever she is, they're obviously well aware of it, and she must have a good builder, a good clientele there, because that stuff is schmick. I'm fussy too, very fussy.
Yeah, nice. Awesome, mate. Well, look, let's have a few more questions for you for today.
Yep.
And I think the next one really focuses on a little bit about, ensuring, high quality, which I know we've already sort of touched on today, and you've shared a bit with us already. With your craft and the way that you do things and the delivery that you have for projects, how do you ensure that from, material selection to final installation that the quality is Mickey Mouse? What are your steps and processes that that ensure that when you hand that over to the client, they're going, holy shit, Ryan, this is amazing?
Yeah, well, we want that every time. We're using Ardex. We have a good supply here. We used to do a lot of work with Beaumont's, because we're Bribie Island. The nearest tile shop that you can send someone with a sort of showroom is Beaumont's. With them a long time, they were garbage, complete garbage. So we were really happy. Sorry?
Which store? Was it Caboolture? No.
Caboolture, yeah.
The Caboolture.
Caboolture, yeah. We weren't really seeing eye to eye there with products or designs or anything really.
Yeah.
So I think all those Beaumont stores, because they're franchised, that they're all a bit like that. You can't just do 2 weeks training in Adelaide and then tell me how a tile should be laid.
No.
And I'm not saying they did that. I just mean it's hard for me to sort of. So we switched to a really good tile supplier. You probably know them, Blues and Tools.
Oh yeah, Brenda.
They've got an office at Caboolture, like a satellite one at Caboolture. And
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's new. So they were at Brendale. The reason I didn't go there from the start, like everyone here, a lot of the tilers go to Brendale because it's on the way to Brisbane, but I only do Bribie. So it never worked out for me until they opened that joint at Caboolture, and they really sort us out. They really look after us with products, especially with price, delivery, you name it. I send one text message and a pallet of Ardex arrives in my container at the house.
Oh, nice.
So we're mostly using Ardex, Latacrete. Actually just Ardex and Latacrete at the moment is what we're using. And those products have, 20-year lifetime on them. So I don't have to double think about any of that. Like, we've got really good rates with a really good supplier. Like, we're pretty happy there. I don't need to push their stuff on because they already supply all the tilers here, but we're quite happy with what they're doing here.
What about your, suppliers it's so important, right? And having a good supplier, having good people communicate with you, as you've just said, you send a text message, pallet of glue rocks up that day or the next day, it's there.
Yep.
You don't have to follow it up. What about your tiling work? Do you have like a process at the end of every job where you do a walk through your job, and you make sure that you walk away from that project knowing that if it was your home, that you were living in it, you'd be like stoked?
Yeah, of course. Look, I reckon I'm fussier with someone else's home than mine. I treat my home, I've owned 2 homes. I treat my home like a bit of an experiment zone. Like I've done but some of the wild stuff you probably see on Instagram is in my own house, because you can't convince people to do weird shit in their house. I have to do it here. Yeah. So I treat someone, I make sure when I leave a house, it's perfect. As perfect as it can be. As far as looking back at my work, before smoko, when I leave, make sure we have a good clean up, and just use your brain. Like look at things at eye level and make sure everything is good, because the minute you walk out, they're going to be there eyeballing it. Like I don't care who they are. If they're paying you a lot of money for that week, they're going to be in there making sure it's on the money. So every job at the moment, I make sure that it's perfect.
Awesome. Along your journey, undoubtedly, you would have come across some demanding clients, and maybe a project or two that didn't go according to plan. Care to share some details on maybe one that wasn't great? What did you learn?
We don't have a lot. We don't have a lot, truthfully. Being that's Bribie, we're not doing like hospitals, stuff like that. We're just doing mostly the private sector. We don't have a lot of problems. We had a good one probably a year ago. We had a whole pool pop full of 600s.
Wow.
Yep. I won't mention the tile shop who supplied them, Tile Connect.
Well, let's not.
So we had a whole pool pop, and I was looking to. So obviously, before it was grouted, it was someone I knew. So I actually wasn't getting paid for the job anyway. So I wasn't too upset. I was very much happy to redo the pool again. If they were send back the tiles, I could redo it. I didn't really care because I was doing it for nothing anyway. But we had a pool pop where the tiles didn't stick to the glue wouldn't stick to the tiles. So we had all sorts of independents come out, and they were all pretty well the same. Bullshit. You haven't primed. You haven't done. It was too hot. We did it at 5:30 in the morning. You haven't back buttered. So the list went on of the absolute dog shit excuses until I started sort of back buttering and making videos of this glue in with like Ardex X18, trying it with 6 or 7 different glues, me stomping on it and pulling it up clean as a new pin. So we've had that one recently that I found really interesting because, like I said, they wouldn't come to the party. The clients in the end did get a refund of the tiles, but it was a mess going through that, like trying to convince them that I'm not a fucking deal. I do know what I'm doing. Like the glue is not sticking to the tile. You can put the glue on it and it pop off. Doesn't matter how you want to back butter it, wet on wet film. Doesn't matter how you want to say it. The glue, you can't sell tiles if they don't stick to the glue. And no matter what glue it was, nothing was sticking. I've still got a sample of the tiles here. I was going to keep them forever in case they ever come back at some point. So that's a good one. We had a good fallout with them, which I didn't like. So I didn't really care because I wasn't getting paid for the job. Anyway, I'm not sure they were really good up until a point where they sent someone out. You come on a Maserati.
Oh, fantastic! Probably with the number plate cash on it.
No, it was pretty. He seemed pretty. Apart from being a bit weird and saying some strange stuff, he was a pretty knowledgeable bloke. But it got to the point where the client had enough. And it got push went to shove, and they wanted the refund. And they were saying, "Well, we're going to refund these tiles because the client had bought a couple of 100 meters." And they said back to me, look, we're gonna do it out of good faith, which wasn't. The tiles were fucked. And they go, we're just going to sell them to someone else. And I said to them on the phone, I was like, do not sell these tiles to someone else because you're going to ruin someone else's home. Like you put that stuff in a bathroom or whatever, a year later it's going to come falling off, or a week later, who knows? Yeah. And after that, I was just like, oh, okay, man, well, this is why I just stick to Bribie Island, do one-off bathrooms, the odd pool, stone, pit, whatever. Like I don't want to get involved heavily with, to me, the big builders or big suppliers. They can have that, man. I'm pretty happy kicking around Bribie and just doing my thing. No,
good on you, man. That's awesome. And look, so far today, mate, fantastic chat. Just got to put that out there. It's very similar to some of the episodes I've had in the past, and I can feel how much you love what you do. And look, and that sort of probably leads me into the next question as well. And this is something that I think a lot of people don't think about, but I'm sure you do when it comes to operating your business and running your business. And that's about profitability. And it's a big topic. And it's about making sure that, people are, not just going out there every day and getting enough money to, sort of open your business and then have 5 cents left over at the end of every day. The profitability piece is very much about having a sustainable business that you can operate, look after yourself, look after your family, if it be, have property and cars and all that sort of stuff, however that looks. And everyone has their own pathway. Yeah. I'm curious to know, how do you manage that in your business? How do you manage profitability with your jobs to ensure that you're covering everything, and also, and that's based upon obviously your benchmark that you set as well, right? So, curious to know how you go about doing that.
Well, I could definitely improve there. Like I'm not an academic. I generally know if I'm quoting a bathroom, I generally know what the material and like anything, your labour is going to be your most expensive part. What you're paying your boys, I generally know what that's going to cost and what I'm going to get out of it at the end of the day. I wouldn't say I'm an expert with numbers, like working that out. Being self-employed, I think is always feast or famine, isn't it? You never like for me, absolutely. For me, there's no baseline. You're never comfortable. You've either got things are either fucking good or things are either really, really tight. Yeah. So I'm probably not a good person to ask. Like I don't know enough about money, budgeting, stuff like that. I'm lucky I don't spend a lot of money. As far as my hobbies go, I don't smoke. I do drink, but I don't gamble. I don't go out. My hobbies include, old shitty cars, so I don't spend a ton of money. So I don't have a lot of expenses, and the wife doesn't either. So we just keep the expenses small. Yep. The only nice thing I've ever bought in my life is that new truck, that new Isuzu truck I've been posting. Oh, yeah. That's the only new thing I've ever bought. Yep. So it doesn't cost. I think it doesn't cost me a lot of money to get up and go to work, does it? Because mostly I've had cars that I've owned. I haven't leased them. I've actually owned them outright, apart from the truck. Yeah. I'm not spending a ton in diesel, am I? Because I don't go. Sometimes I'm working in my street, so I don't spend a lot of money there. So that's I keep my expenses quite low. Only ever normally contractors. Like I don't have 5 or 10 guys I'm paying superannuation and taxes and stuff like that. I don't want to work more than I have to. I love what I do, but I'm very well happy doing what I need to do, go really hard and then come home. I don't need to be out working 10, 12-hour days. I don't want to be doing that. But as far as running accounts, I've probably got improvement for that. So it's worked out all right the last few years. Like we've done in the midst of having 2 babies, we've done 2 renos, and I've done really, really well there. Yeah. So call that luck, call it what you want. But I'm not someone who's on top of the finances all the time. I miss emails. I don't check my bank account for days. I'm doing all the stuff like that, all the book work. But I wouldn't say I'm an expert at that stuff. I could definitely use some improvement there.
Sounds like you need a CFO, mate. Help you get your do your books and...
Well, my accountant says that I'm doing okay with it, but I find it really hard keeping up with the quotes, the quoting and the invoicing, reconciling the books. I have a hard time keeping up with that because I'm on the fucking tools 10 hours a day. Yeah. Like I leave here at 6, I get back at 4. I'm brained. I don't know up from down when I get home. I find it really hard to do the quotes at night.
Yeah. Oh, it would be.
Friday, forget it. It ain't happening. Like I'm watching footy and I
was going to say.
I'm not going to get there. I see a lot of guys. Like my father couldn't use a computer. He never done anything like that. Like my mum did all the accounting, and he just went to work. 6-7 days a week. We don't have that system here because my wife's got her own business and she's busy doing her stuff. So I normally end up a little bit behind with the bookwork. I'm not at the moment. At the moment, I've stopped drinking through the week. I only have one night, watch the footy, I drink. So I've been on it the last couple of weeks. I'm doing really good at the moment, but in the past, I can definitely lag on my bookwork.
Yeah. No, mate, look, it's I actually particularly like your philosophy around spend little. I think that's a really big thing that I think a lot of people that start out in business get a bit caught up in, particularly if you're swimming in success and all of a sudden you've got 3 or 4 jobs and then you've got another 3 or 4 jobs and then,
someone doesn't pay. You bump into recession or something like that. That has happened in my life. Like I started my business during it and we got recession immediately in 2008. So I just never wanted to fly too close to the sun like that. I was pretty happy just plodding around doing the private stuff. I see young guys, not so much here, but I know it happens. Young guys think they're going to take over the world and put on lots of blokes, and they end up suicidal, divorced, lose the Land Cruiser anyway. So I wanted that work-life sort of balance a little bit. So I've always like that. Again, that new truck is the only new thing I've ever bought. I've never had any decent vehicles.
Yeah,
I've had Hiluxes.
Good on you for doing it.
Yeah, that would be my advice to people, to young guys as well. It's just don't go silly buying the new. You don't need that new Land Cruiser. You don't need that $7,000 trailer. Like just there you go for the first couple of years first.
Establish yourself first. It's like building a building, right? And this is a really corny phrase, but get your bloody foundations right first before you start adding on friggin' toys and trucks and. Because you can very quickly hit a brick wall very quick, like with all of the things that you just said.
Yeah, I think so. I think doing like finish like starting up for yourself, and then you might get a couple of project builders, you might get a couple of commercial jobs, but then they buying big trucks and they say the same shit all the time. It's a tax deduction. That doesn't mean you don't have to fucking pay for it. You're still paying for that.
That's right.
Like do you understand how money is? You're still going to pay for that, mate. And if it might save you some tax, but that just means that you are spending all the money you are making. So I think doing that can be a very fast route to the bottom. Like you can. That's where I hear the sentence. I fucking hate it. I can't do it. This is too hard. I'm getting divorced. Yada yada. You put too much pressure on yourself. Keep your expenses low and keep it simple. We're only putting squares on the ground. We're not reinventing the wheel. You have to be good at this job. I think it takes you a good 10 years to be good at this job, but you don't have to overcomplicate it.
Yeah. Excellent advice. Ryan, before we wrap up today, I would love to know, you've clearly got a young family with a new one on the way. And, mate, how do you balance your life every week? How do you you've talked about football, which is great. By the way, what's your team?
Broncos.
Oh, thank God. I should have asked you at the beginning because this podcast may have not happened because I'm a member.
Brizzy.
Go the Bronx.
I'm there Friday night.
Oh, so am I.
Yeah.
Get out of here. You at the game?
Oh, you're on the Roosters game. Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm a member. I've got. I'm at one of the goal. I'm 332 section.
Oh, terrific! I don't know what number, but I'm going. I don't go to the games a lot. I got invited. I I'm going to I do a lot of work with Luxus, so Luxus Mates, and they've invited me to watch the Titans Broncos in the box.
Oh, yeah.
So all my tagging them is fucking paid off finally.
Nice. So you're going with Tim and Brendan and a few of the others?
I don't know if Tim's going. I speak to Tim a lot about products. I like Tim a lot because he's passionate about. He listens when you say something. He listens. Like he wants to hear from the guys.
Yeah,
and he's a terrific guy. I don't think it was him. Shaz there at Luxus called me.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually going to miss out because it's the game is when my baby's due. So I was really looking forward to that. I was really looking forward to rubbing some shoulders with the big dogs at Luxus there because I use that product every single week. But yeah, I don't think I better go because my kid's being born. But Friday night I'm there to watch them hammer the roofers.
I'll send you a message, mate. When I'm there, we may run into each other.
Beauty. I'll definitely be getting a beer after or before.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. We'll do that for sure. That sounds excellent.
Happy days.
Yeah, sorry, digress. I was just sort of curious about how you manage your week and balance out your life to ensure that you're fitting everything in. You know, obviously work's important, but obviously family and taking a break from that is just as important. Do you have any tips or tricks that you can share?
No, not really. What balance? All I do is work. I don't. I think if you said that, if you asked my wife, she'd say, "No, we see you all the time, Ryan." So I start early. I go really hard, and then I finish. I don't do a lot of long days, so I think I'm generally when my son's 3, and when he comes home from daycare, I'm generally here. So Lauren picks him up, 3:00, 3:30, and I don't have a long trek home, so I'm generally here in the afternoons. I do a lot of Saturdays. I do the odd Sunday, but I never work. Like I might go out for coffee with the wife and then flick off to work for a couple of hours and then come back. We might walk down the beach or walk down to the pub and get a beer or something. So now that I'm 36 now that I'm getting old, I try not to work too many weekends. For me, no one is going to die if I'm not there, Saturday or Sunday. You can wait till Monday. That's just how it is. You're going to have to wait for me. So as far as balance goes, I think I've got it pretty good there. Just early start, early finish. That's my advice. Start fucking early. If you're driving to work at 8:00, you've missed the best part of the day. You're an idiot. Just get in there 6:30, 7:00, work really hard. You don't have to have a long smoke. 2:30, 3:00. If you're not finished, then you're too slow.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure there's guys that disagree. I'm sure there's going to be guys saying, "No, we're smacking, meters until 4, 5 o'clock." That's great. I highly doubt you're going to be doing that every day for 50 years or 65 like my father. If you work the way I work, I really love my job, and the way I work pretty, casual. I work hard, but I work casual. I can do my job until I'm 85. I have no issue with that. You'll do your job longer if you enjoy it. Yeah. So if you burn yourself out, like I said, you're going to end up in a nut farm or an alcoholic or divorced. I've got no problem doing this job the rest of my life, and that is a good feeling. I know what I'm here to fucking do.
Exactly.
I like it. I don't need to be. I'm not looking for early retirement. I can punt away doing this forever, and I think that's a good thing. Laugh all you want. It's a good thing.
No, laughing here, mate. I think it's very ambitious, and it's great to speak to someone who's very like-minded that has that sort of flair about how they live their life. And it's important to get up every day and be happy and enjoy what you do. So I think there's some massive takeaways from today's chat and conversation. And mate, thank you for giving us your time. I really do appreciate it. And look, I know the community, they love listening to these episodes. I've had multiple feedback in the past from a number of tiling contractors around the country and even New Zealand as well, where they've written in messages and said, "Oh, look, that person that was on, a couple of weeks ago was fantastic. I've learned so much about how they run their business, and I've applied some things in my life."
I've been talking about it, mate. I've been spinning some yarns because I thought I was on last week. Last week I was really busy, really, really stressed out. I had a wedding and a whole lot of stuff on. This week was much better. So I was really was really glad I wasn't on last week. But I've been talking nonstop about this thing to literally everyone I've walked past on site. So
awesome.
There'll definitely be a few people on Bribie Island listening by and giving me shit for the next couple of weeks. But I'm sure they'll also appreciate. I could probably put some good guys that like to come on as well.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. I'm more than happy to get some recommendations. It's always good to know that other people would be keen to get on board. It's one of the podcast hosts' biggest challenges sometimes is you get sort of like writer's block, and you've got to it's coming up with new content and getting different people on board and that sort of thing. So no, mate. Now, obviously, if people want to connect in with you and steal a bit of your time online and digitally, how would they get in contact with you? What's the best method?
Steal my time for what?
Oh, look, sometimes we have people who want to connect in with you directly. Is Instagram the best way to sort of, connect in with Ryan?
Are you talking for work or for podcasts or?
Look, it could be anything. It could just be other tilers that go, mate, listen to the podcast, want to have a chat, just chew your ear off, or, just want to connect with you digitally. Always
happy to chat tiles. I know that sounds boring, but I mean...
not in our world.
No, not if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to last. Like that.
Mate, look at the sign behind me. I did this because I've been in the industry for 22 years.
I sit at Smoko, and the builders and the other guys, they roll their eyes because I'll be looking at videos of tiling or some other tiler I follow.
Yeah.
They're like, "What? Why would you be doing that to Smoke?" I'm like, "I don't know. I fucking like it, man. Like, I don't want to turn on the phone and look at what fucking tariffs Trump's put on the world. Like, I want to see some nice miners. Like, shoot me. I like what I do. I mean, it's working out all right for me."
Thank you for coming on today. Really appreciate everything that you've shared. We always do like to say, until next time, stay connected. It's a bit of our catchphrase at the end of the program. Best of luck out there in the coming weeks and months, and best of luck with the newborn when that happens, mate. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Another Tyler incoming, mate. Another Tyler.
Fourth generation.
Fourth, yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. He's pretty keen. He's got he gets the trowels. So.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Tiling Connect. Don't forget to rate and review this podcast. To see more of Tiling Connect, jump on our socials and follow us via LinkedIn, Instagram and Facebook. If you'd like to be part of the show, email us at tilingconnect@gmail.com. Until next time, stay connected.